Hello there. Konnichiwa. Good morning to you all. Well, finally, I have a good night of sleep, so I'm a lot better in my mind than when I did the review for this week with chapters. So, uh, I decided to present a small preview about Bleach 534 that will come out next week. Um, and before, let's say, my small prediction, I want to speak about two or three points regarding last week or this week uh, Bleach chapter. Um, the first point will be the personality of Tozen. Um, during the Arankar saga, the fake Karakura town arc, we always, or in the list, I always saw Tozen kind of a guy that was completely brainwashed by Aizen. Also, yes, indeed, a guy that kind of followed his own sense of justice. Yes, some twisted logic at the same time. Also, however, I always saw Tozen. I will not risk to say a puppet. However, almost like a puppet. Even as opposition to Ichimaru Gin. Yes, we already know that Gin, in the end, was never an ally of Aizen and Tozen. So, but I was kinda pleased how Kubo, especially in this chapter, portrayed Tozen personality. He elaborates it a little longer, and the personality of Tozen, he is not so brainwashed guy, but this kind of reinforces the idea that indeed he hated soul society, and like Aizen, he was pretty attached to the instruments of that destruction. This shows also that Tozen, we already have some small hints about Tozen. Tozen did play a very important role on the research of qualification experiments and so on. Yes, we have Aizen and Dioko and so on, so on, so on. However, it appears to me as these chapters that Tozen was in some way the guy behind the all great part of the research about qualification, olos and so on. Tozen was the mind in some way behind that. I could be wrong, but this is the sensation I have after read this week check. The second point I want to elaborate is about Ryuken and Katagiri. Again, in the panel we see Ryuken and Katagiri, and when they are speaking, we again see Katagiri with that sorrowful expression in his face. Um, I still think I will continue to say that most likely Katagiri will eventually become Uryu's mother. Um, but uh, the expression, it's not the first time she makes this expression. I'm not quite certain if is a sad expression because the concern Ryuken gives to Mazaki may be a concern that Katagiri wanted, or if is simply is her own feelings that surface in those moments and she wanted to be the center of the attention of Ryuken, or if it's related with the question of Ryuken upper blood, Katagiri mixed blood. Uh, I don't know exactly what is. I will say that probably is a mix between her own feelings and the situations that Ryuken uh, gets involved related with Masaki. And the third idea that I want to speak about is about Urahara Kizuke. I saw, I, this week I don't have much time to have a lot of videos on YouTube about the reviews of the chapters. However, some videos I saw one or two videos that say that Urahara was in spirit form. I don't think that Urahara was in a spirit form. Um, he was in a Gigai, because if you remember at the end of Turn Back the Pendulum, in the closing of Turn Back the Pendulum, I think that is Yoruishi and Tesai that are speaking with Urahara, and Urahara says that he is going to prepare 20 bodies or something like that, 20 gigai or 20 special gigai, I think, for using on the human world. So at this time, Urahara is clearly on a gigai. Uh, Still, I don't know what his expression means. That final look on that final panel. I think that, like I have said in my review, is about Urahara was feeling the Reiatsu of the Olo, or the remnants of the Reiatsu of the Olo, white, that he leaves in Mazaki. I think that's the thing behind it, and that will also be one of the reasons why Urahara will probably also, like will Aizen will from now on will have Masaki under in some way watch, and I think Urahara will do the same. Is even if I exactly don't know how, but he will do something like that. About predictions for next chapter, I don't have idea. I think this chapter, like I have said in my review, is transition chapter from one action to a future action. I still think that the turn back the pendulum to in some way will continue at least for more one, two, maybe three, eventually four chapters. Because I think that if the turn back the pendulum 2, yes, I will call it, continues, I think that in the next chapters we will see Ishin uh, go or trying to go to the human world to meet Masaki. Perhaps Aizen will take some action against Masaki. Aizen could do it in the sense that he could in some way lay a trap to Ishin involving Masaki, and if Masaki was threatened and so on, maybe Shin in some way learn about it and he will go to the human world and he may found himself in a trap. I don't know if Aizen will do it, but or Ishin will will begin investigate something in Soul Society because he knew that it was a Shinigami that stabbed him on the back. Maybe he'll start doing some investigation and so on. In the process, Aizen will learn about it and in some way he will frame Ishin for something and Ishin is expelled or banished or needs to leave. Um, but I think that the next chapters most likely will be or might be actions that will happen in Soul Society. Either Ishin goes to investigate something or Aizen is kinda starts to entrap Ishin in something um, with the final goal of him being expelled from the Gotei. I think that is the most likely scenario um, to happen. Well, this is my preview for Bleach 534 that will come out next week. Stay well, peace, see you soon.